Welcome everybody to the call. Awesome to have you all here. We are going to get this thing kicked off in about 60 seconds. Today, I am super excited. We are going to be showing you guys the performance update that is going to go out today. And we are going to talk about this huge optimization to GearBox. This is a performance update we've been testing and working on for months now. When we first released GearBox, a lot of people noticed that it was a highly intensive and resource heavy product, meaning that it slowed down the VPS as we've continued to optimize. But what we plan to roll out later tonight for this weekend's update is going to be that big update that really just boosts speed and solves a lot of minuscule problems. I'm not talking about bugs. I'm talking about problems that were caused by overloaded VPSs, by too many resources being used at once. So this update I'm excited to get into, but we're going to start this in another 30 seconds. I'm just going to stop sharing myself for a minute here, and then we're going to get into the disclaimer and then get right into it. So just give me 30 seconds here and we will kick this thing off. But go ahead while I'm pulling up all my screens here and just let me know where you're calling in from in the world. Also, let me know, how did your week go using GearBox? I saw some incredible results this week from many of our customers. I'm excited to see how you guys did. Tell me what your max profit was you made this week, what your max drawdown is, and then I'm going to get in here to reading the disclaimer. And just give me 1 second to pull up this new VPS that actually has access right now for you to actually see the latest GearBox, and this is going to be super cool. I'm super excited to show this to you guys because it's something we've been working on for a long time, and this is really going to be a huge speed boost in GearBox. And I know people have been just screaming about speed, and we've been listening. Trust me, we've been listening. We've been working. We've been saying, how can we just get this thing to run like the most well-oiled machine possible. So I'm just pulling up the VPS here, and I have the disclaimer, and we're going to go ahead and get this started. And thank you guys for joining. I know we started this call a little late. We had one of our first calls, a few minutes ago, which was pretty cool, and that was going over one of our new products launching very soon called Neo the Legend. So that call was one of the first developer insight calls. It went a little longer than usual, actually about what it should go for, but we are going to get right into this. I'm just syncing the updated EA. Let me go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to read this disclosure, and we are going to go ahead and get started. And then I'm going to read and see how everyone's been doing this past week in the market, what's been happening. So the first thing is we're going to get into the income disclosure here. Trading or using any form of Forex analyst tools and software to assist you in trading carries a high level of risk. Please only trade with capital that you can afford to lose. The information contained in this presentation is for informational purposes only. One should evaluate their risk tolerance and personal financial situation before you ever get into trading. If you are ever in doubt, please consult your own personal licensed financial advisor. Auvoria Prime LLC is not providing investment advice, as all trade opportunities are delivered to all participants uniformly without regard to an individual's trade objectives, financial condition, or suitability, unless, again, a user has made customized alert options privately on their own account to further analyze their own manual trade opportunities. These options are at the full discretion of the user. Again, Auvoria Prime LLC does not exercise any trading authority over your trades. You and you alone exercise discretionary trading authority over every trade. So I'm just going to get into the chat box real quick and let us know how some users are doing for this week, and just read out. I see GearBox Rocks making it faster. Week was amazing. Great results this week. Awesome this week. Pepper Bradford said 4.5% gain this week, 10.4% for the month. Max DD so far was 4.2%. Pepper, that is an awesome week. Super excited to hear about that. Mariska said 1% gain still in DD. NZD JPY moving in the wrong direction again. Mariska, I feel you on that one. I'm still in NZD JPY too. That one just is not wanting to fall off that cliff, but it will. Hi, I'm from cold Wisconsin. Andy, awesome. He said 2.67% for the week. Guessing not a bad week when no USD trades was taken, low drawdown all week, and no new open trades as of now. Awesome. So you were out on the week. I don't know what the Skype message is. We'll drag that away. Had no trades this week. Alexander, we're going to probably want to look at your account and make sure everything's just set up properly. That, he just said, may this be an effect if I took some trades manually? That could be from taking some trades manually. I sent an alert earlier, and I've sent many alerts since the release of GearBox. Please do not manually trade on the same account as GearBox. There's so many different features inside the GearBox that manually trading, let's say you even close a small loss. Let's say you put $1,000 in your GearBox account, you take a manual trade and you're at $999. Well, GearBox is going to stop trading because by default, it has an initial balance protection feature, meaning that you went below your initial balance, it stopped trading, right? So there's a lot of different factors that can happen from manually trading. It is best to not manually trade on the same account that you are using GearBox on. So please, if you are manually trading or ever want to manually trade, do it on a separate account than the account you're trading on with GearBox. Or if you are going to manually trade on the same account as GearBox, do not do it on the same currency pairs that GearBox is trading. Meaning if you want to go trade gold or US 30 on the same account, awesome. Just don't have GearBox open on the same currency pair as any of the ones you're trading. That's the biggest thing I can tell you. But overall, the best practice is to not manually trade on the same account as GearBox. Duwald, this week I had 3 trades taken this week in the same pair. 2 have closed in profits, and 1. Is it normal to take 3 trades in 1 week on one pair and not other pairs? Actually, that is normal. I saw that on some other accounts as well this week, that they were in EuroCAD, and that was really the only pair that some of them got into. Depends on your strategy, sniper, what it may be, which time frame. Nick Meyer said he's from Louisiana. He did great this week. He started live trading with $1,078, and he's right now up to $1,135. So sounds like an awesome week for you, Nick. Idina said no results, no open trades were closed, and 4 of my accounts. Idina, I feel like that just doesn't. I feel like there might be something we're missing there. I would like to take a look at your accounts, maybe put in a support ticket because you should have received some form of trade this week for sure, especially if you have 4 accounts running. Judson said 10.65% for the month. That's a great month, Judson. Daniel said he's from I don't know what NL actually is or what country that is. That's a good question for Google for me. But he did 3.36% this week. That is incredible. 12% this week. Somebody said Jake Skinner. Wow. I'm guessing that's probably a smaller account maybe, or if that's a bigger account. I don't know what you're doing, but congratulations, man. You're crushing it. Mariska said 1.63% closed, 2 more charts today. NZD still the party pooper. DD is below 20% though. That is great to know. It's always good when the DD gets lower. Christopher said he's switching to GearBox tonight, but he has open trades from Alexander still. Can I still switch or do I need to close my trade? 3K count with 150 DD. Christopher, this is a more advanced question, but I would like to answer it because some people might also be on this call that have been wanting to switch to GearBox, and maybe you are using Einstein or Alexander or another product. And the big thing I can tell you is you have to look at those trades and the cost averaging, and if they went unmanaged, could you get out of them, right? Or if you just wanted to close them, could you, right? 150 DD, I'd say, you're probably okay with switching and just holding those and manually looking at them and understanding the market. Now, there's always that risk that those trades go against you further and you might need to, do some manual intervention there. But oftentimes when switching, it's sometimes best to just close those trades. If you're okay with closing that, then that's on you. But if not, then yeah, you can always just manually manage them and watch them and switch to another product. Philip Howard just told me a few of his customers' accounts growth for the week here. He said he had 1 customer with 7%, another with 7%, 1 with 3%, another with 7%, and 1 with 3.5%, and 1 for 5% for the week. Wow, Philip, your customers are crushing it with GearBox. It's so cool to see some of these things. Judson, even though she did 10+% this month, she said she has AUD JPY trades that just will not die. And Judson, I have AUD JPY trades, NZD JPY trades, AUD USD trades, and NZD USD trades that just don't want to die right now. But, you know, so I feel you. And that's why we made those updates to the Gearbox Manager for the increased entries. And we're going to get into all that. I'm going to start sharing my screen and getting through everything in a minute. Rob said 5% this week. Wow. You know, you guys are crushing it in here. Sarah said she made 6% this week, 13% in the past 3 weeks. You know, that is just incredible. Jay said he's on Sniper, but hasn't had trades in 2 to 3 weeks. Jay, I think there's something missing, you know, to the puzzle. We might want to go back and look at your account. Anytime you're saying a week's gone by and you haven't received one trade, you should always be going back and saying what's missing, right? Because you should always see at least a trade a week. If there's a week that goes by with no trades, you're going to see it in the rest of this group too, right? There's going to be tons of people saying, I didn't get any trades. It was such a slow week. I didn't make any profit. But when you see people in here saying they did 6, 7, 8% this week, and you're saying you didn't get any trades, there might be something that just isn't fully set up properly. And we might want to go back through the setup process, re-review your account, and make sure that everything's set up properly, because you definitely should see some form of trades that are going on. Lorena said 2.11% this week. Steven said 3.3 the first 2 weeks. You know, some of these results are just incredible. Carrie said she was out of the market by Tuesday with 1.74% profit. You know, the results this week are incredible, to say the least. I'm just reading through these results, and you guys got me so excited. So let's get into why. Wow, Ada said, anyway, I've made 63% in a little more than a month. I love GearBox. So Ada said she had no trades this week, but in the last month, she's made 63%. Now, I don't know what you're doing, but you didn't get any trades this week, but you made 63% the past few weeks. Then wow, that's just that's incredible. You know, and insane. She said her max drawdown was 11% too, with that result. Wow. Lewis said 11.7% for the month. You know, and it's pretty incredible to see what is going on. Rob, great point. Rob here said everyone not getting trades should have the checkbox under each of their charts for allow live trading. And I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen real quick so I can just pull up the updated GearBox here. This should be live, and give me a second. I might need to boot VPS here. Let's see. Oh, nope, we're good. We have the GearBox. So first thing is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. We're going to go through the brand new GearBox. And when I say brand new, I just opened a bunch of pairs here randomly to show you guys the speed, because I want to show you what the new options are. So when you first get set up, you're still going to need to go ahead and drag GearBox on one chart. If you're just getting your software updated, there's going to be a different process for you. But inside, you're going to see that there's a new setting called GearBox has master. And you'll see by default it's set as true. All right, now I'm going to explain what this means. First thing, though, is you're obviously going to want to make sure you have all these boxes checked. If you didn't receive any trades, make sure that these boxes are checked. These are very important. This can be a reason for why people aren't receiving trades. So go ahead and check those boxes. And then obviously I already validated this, so you're going to see that it did not ask me to go revalidate it. But in that case, what's going to happen next is you're going to want to go ahead and open a chart that you're not using GearBox on. In this case, we're using this chart here, just a random chart. I'm going to drag the manager on. Now, when you first set up and you get this update, you're going to still see that these are set to false, right? You're going to need to go ahead when you get this update, go to your GearBox manager, go to inputs, change is master to true. All right. So what this is doing, and I'm going to explain in a minute. So we're setting GearBox manager to become the master. You got to make sure you check these boxes as well under the manager. We're setting it up to be the master. And then you're going to notice as well in the new manager, we took away the actual ability to put your lot size and your max pairs here, and we added it to the input section here. So depending on your account balance or what you're doing, you may choose your max pairs or change your starting lot size. But the main important piece is master is true. Now you're going to hit OK. Now what's going to happen when you have the master set as true is actually all of these other charts, once we fill them in with gearboxes, are actually going to be settings holders. So this might go over some of your heads who are more new or experienced, but the reason that the VPS has got slower is because you had so many charts open, but for every chart you had open here, it actually was its own individual expert advisor running. meaning that you didn't have one gearbox running. You had 25 gearboxes running if you had, all the minors and the majors open. But in this case, with the new manager as the master, you're actually only going to have one gearbox running, and it's going to be the manager. So you're not going to close the manager. In this case, I'm just going to click sniper double take profit here, and you're going to notice that it's going to apply rapidly, just like that. I have 4 other terminals open right now, and you just saw how fast Gearbox applied to every single one of these charts. So if that gets you excited, go ahead and put a 777 in the chat box. And the other part that's exciting about this is not only did it apply Gearbox that quickly, you do not see a bunch of timer errors. You don't see it struggling to apply Gearbox to any of the charts. It applied Gearbox in an instant to all these charts. And guess what? It applied all the proper settings to every single one of these charts too. We'll go just take a look at a few of them just to show you that, hey, look, it set the proper settings. GBP, JPY, boom, right? It applied just like that in an instant to all these charts, all the proper settings. And it is super sped up now with this is master feature. So right now, all these other charts are actually a slave to the Gearbox manager. So when I say slave, they report back to the manager now. The actual manager is what is going to be running the ghost trades. So it's important that you don't close the manager. You leave the manager open, you can minimize it, but the manager is now actually what's running the strategy behind the scenes. So we're going to continue to advance the manager and make it, a lot more functional, give it a ton of new features, add more settings to it so that you can customize more things to the actual Gearbox and all your other charts. So we're going to continue to add more settings here. As well, we're going to simplify this and give it another makeover here soon. But you'll probably notice we also added this cool new remove all button. So let's say, you just want to remove Gearbox from all the charts in an instant and reapply a different strategy. Sometimes it's faster to remove the EA from the chart than to have it remove and then reapply when you want to change your strategy. So if you want to just remove it from the charts, you can hit this button, and it's actually going to go ahead and remove Gearbox from every single chart as well. So just some cool features. We're going to continue to advance it, but I'm going to get into the chat box, read a little of the Q&A, and see what's going on here. But you guys were excited about that. I'm glad you are. This is something we've been working on for months. And I want to talk quickly a little bit about, yes, Pepper, you're going to leave the manager chart open all the time from now on because it is going to become the master and be running everything. So I'm just reading real quick some more results. Jake Skinner said 20% this month with no more than 5% drawdown. Awesome, Jake. This is so cool to see everyone's results they've been getting. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this. So that we want to trade now, unlike in the past. Pepper, do not put the manager on a pair that you want to trade. The manager always needs to go on a pair that you're not going to use Gearbox on. So in this case, I just chose some random pair on this broker. I don't even know what DXY is right now. I mean, I'm sure I do, but I'm not at the moment familiar. So just put the manager on a chart you're not going to run Gearbox on. It could be US 30, it could be gold, it could be a crypto. It doesn't really matter. Just any chart that you're not going to actually run the specific Gearbox on. Wow, Steve Red came in here and he just said he's up 89% in 2 months with the Gearbox. It's been pretty cool to see all these results of all these customers and everything you guys are able to do because you guys are really customizing this thing. And this is so cool to see. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about what things this speed update should help with. So these aren't things that were bugs in the past. These are actually things that were caused as problems because of how slow the VPSs were, because of how resource intensive Gearbox was and how many charts you had open. And we also have more optimizations coming for other softwares. There's more coming to Arrow for optimizations. There's more coming for Variable for optimizations. We're going to continue to kind of lead the way with what we just did with Gearbox here for also all the other products to continue to speed them up, allow you to run multiple charts without slowing down the VPS. We want to continue to just focus on speed and optimization of every single product in this marketplace. So know that all the products are going to get tons of awesome enhancements like this. So now what I was going to say is main things that this is going to fix is if you've ever seen a chart get stuck on ghost gears -1 and -1, meaning that, it just never reopened a new ghost trade. That oftentimes was happening from bogged down VPSs. Another thing that we were seeing sometimes is the levels would be a little farther than they should have been or a little closer than they should have been. And this wasn't because the level range wasn't working properly. This was because when GearBox would say enter this trade, sometimes there were so many other things going on in the VPS that it actually took 5 minutes, even 10 minutes in some examples we saw before. Sometimes the trade would actually fully get entered, even though the software ordered it to get entered, and obviously the price can fluctuate there. So with this sped up thing, we should also see instant execution. You should never see the ghost gears get frozen. It should really help in a lot of places like that. And the biggest thing is going to be applying the proper settings. Matt Jazz said, so GBB CAD you have for master will look manager settings and lot size. Yeah, so no, you're going to input those still yourself. You're always going to want to go ahead and still input in the manager your lot size and your max pairs, and it'll apply that setting to all the other charts, but then all the other settings will be applied based on the strategy that you choose. And then, like I said, as time goes on, we're going to continue to add into the inputs here more settings, meaning like some people I've been hearing have been making it to where their ghost trades don't delete at the start of the week, which, remember, if we make a software update, they're going to delete no matter what. But when those weeks go by where we're not updating the software and things are just super smooth, some people are choosing to not delete the ghost trades at the start of the week as it's presenting them more trade opportunities. So we're going to continue to add more features in here, like even stop loss and things that some people might want to customize more, and they don't want to go to each individual chart and change that setting. So we're going to add those things into the manager so that you can still choose a strategy and have the right gears above settings put in, but with your customized options here. So again, we're going to continue to really advance the manager and make it an incredible product. And, I think I told you guys, 2 calls ago, the next 90 days for GearBox. And I believe I told you that this speed optimization was not as near as it is. I always love to under promise and over deliver. And that's really what we wanted to do here with the GearBox speed update. We didn't want to give you guys, 2 weeks ago, say, oh, we're really close to it. I told you guys, oh, it might be another month and a half, right? And here we are 2 weeks later, and we're getting you guys this optimized, sped up GearBox that's going to make such a huge difference in the trading and all the things that are going on. Let me keep reading through here what's going on. Matt Jazz, yes, if you change a setting in the manager, it will reset all the ghost trades. Satish said, can we use 24 pairs or 25 pairs for a 10K account? Satish, you can use 25 pairs. The difference is going to be your max pair setting. So, you may say max pairs 3. What does this mean? It means even though you're scanning 25 pairs or however many pairs for entries, you're only going to specifically allow 3 maximum to trade at a single time, or 4 or 5 or 6, whatever you choose to do. For me, I personally choose 3 as my conservative, 6 is like my moderate to aggressive max amount of pairs I'd ever trade at a single time. Now I am running accounts for feedback, larger demo accounts, running all 25 at once, just kind of to really see what's going on and different things. We're always doing more testing for data. Steve, no, you'll not need to reset up your GearBox from scratch. The only thing you guys are going to need to do, and I am going to post a video on it when we release this update, is when you get the new update later tonight and I make the announcement in Telegram, I will release a video. But all you're going to do is you're going to redrag the GearBox manager on a chart, and you're going to go into the manager, and you're simply just going to change this setting to true. And then you're going to go ahead and put your lot size, your max pairs, choose your strategy, and it's going to update all your GearBoxes to have the performance update. Now, if you do not do this step, you will not have the performance update, because if you set this to false and all the other charts are still set to false, GearBox is running the old way, right? So the speed update is only if you allow the GearBoxes to become slaves to the master manager, meaning that the manager will become the master, the other charts will become slaves, where they just report to the manager the settings and analytics and data for the UI, whereas the manager will run actually all the functions behind the scene when it is the master. So again, you do have to leave the manager open in order for it to be the master, but you can simply just minimize it like this, and you'll see it's right down here. Here's all my GearBoxes. But all of these are actually just reporting to the manager, right? Because they all have a master. Pepper, you can still change settings on individual charts. The master will read from these charts. So basically, these are just placeholders now. They hold the settings, and then the manager reports and reads what settings are input on these charts and then trades around that. So yes, you can still individually change settings on each chart. Just the master manager reads the settings from these and then operates from that. All right, let me get into some of the Q&A here. Ronald said, I saw your earlier telegram about running manual software with GearBox. After getting no trades for 3 weeks, that explains a lot. I have Arrow and GBM 1 BPS. Ghost Gears never climbed above a 3 on any pair. No, Ronald, what I was saying is not to manually trade on the same account. Meaning you can have a VPS that has Arrow and GearBox open on it, but if you're using them on the same account, that could be what's causing GearBox to potentially not enter trades. You could look in your experts log. It could have been something with protect initial balance protection. There's a few things. Basically, anytime you're manually trading on the same account GearBox it can mess with the ghost trades. So if you are using the same specific broker account login on both Arrow and GearBox, that is going to be a no-no. Absolutely. You're going to want to have separate accounts for that. Brent said, is swing the new sniper with these gear entry settings? Brent, this is a great question. I'm going to go ahead and actually talk about this. So I actually reorganized this. I'm going to put out another, updated chart here, but David Mays, if you know David, he's such an amazing member of our community. I'm not sure if David's even on this call, but one of these weeks I'm going to have David come on and be a guest speaker here. But David came on with me and he said, let's organize these so that they're all just, based on their entries. So, because before it was like, oh, it was just a little more unorganized. So we went ahead and did this, but these are the new entry settings for each single currency pair. So you can see the highest entry settings are GBP NZD. You can see that you have GBP pairs and Euro AUD, right? You can see based on these pairs and their movement where we've put their entries. So we bumped up some. The earliest entries are going to be these. Next are going to be these. And you can see that blue is swing, orange is sniper, red is super sniper. So you can see you're waiting, all the way for a gear 8 entry for GBP NZD, on super sniper, which is pretty incredible. It's a very far along the lines entry, but I've actually seen it happen. In fact, I just actually saw myself get into a gear 7 GBP NZD trade recently. So, these pairs do move like that. And when you get to snipe an entry like that and skip all of this, that's always super cool. But yes, these are the new update stuff. So you can see each pair, this is their earliest entry that's possible. And I'm going to release this chart here soon. Now, I did see some questions on people saying, why can't we use the 1 hour chart? You can use the 1 hour. You can use the 4 hour. Just the difference in time frame is going to be based around how conservative you may want to be. And when I say how conservative you may want to be, if you're using the 1 hour time frame, you're going to get a less accurate read on the market, and you're more likely to trade both sides of the market. Now, when I say trade both sides of the market, I mean, right now you see that I have a sell gear 0 open on USD CAD in the Ghost server, but I have no buy open. -1 means there's nothing open on the buy side. If I was using that 1 hour, which I am, it is more likely sometimes to enter both of these. Why this can be a good thing or a bad thing is there's times where I notice that people say to me, hey, Tyler, I see the market this week went, 200 pips, but I didn't enter the trade. And the reason for that is if you were on the daily, you might have actually been trading with the trend. Whereas if you're on an hour or an hour 4 and it's playing both sides of the market, even if you were playing with the trend, you might have also been playing against it, meaning that you get into your next gear entry. So actually lower time frames are going to present more trade opportunities, but they also are going to present the potential for more drawdown. They could also create the potential for more risk, right? But the lower time frames will also increase your profit potential, absolutely. But do keep in mind they could also increase your risk potential. So like I said, there's no problem with using the hour 1 or the H4. In fact, in the case of GearBox, it could play out very well in your favor. Is there a reason it's not broke? Don't fix it. Daily been working great for us, Philip said. Yeah, the daily, like I said, the daily is going to be the most accurate read on the market. And the reason I like the daily is it's going to typically just play one direction. And yes, that could play out against you. Like, for example, right now, I've been playing the daily still on NZD JPY. Maybe if I was playing the hour 1 and H4, I could have been hedging a bit more and not just stuck in a move for, 2 months, right? There's going to be times you might get in a consolidated pair, and if you're playing the daily, it could go against you. And again, that's why we went ahead and we went in here and we said, okay, let's increase these entries, right? NZD JPY specifically, we bumped this one up too, right? Where we're not even entering till gear 5 on Sniper. I was entering on a gear 3. So, if I had skipped these two, that's already way less drawdown. Same thing with AUD USD and some of these other pairs. AUD USD, we were entering here. So we're jumping up on all of these AUD JPY, AUD USD. You can see we've bumped up a bunch of entries along the boards, and some of these more volatile ones, even AUD CAD, Euro JPY, right? Anytime the data suggests that these pairs are moving more than they normally do, let's just bump up entries. And that's the beauty in GearBox. You have the ability to continue to get more precision in your entries and your trade opportunities, and really wait for those amazing opportunities that they only come so often. Ada said, so in regards to the time frame, H4 is okay, not too aggressive. Yeah, Ada, daily is going to be the most conservative. H4, you're getting more into less accuracy, and then H1 is definitely going to be more on your moderate aggressive side, especially if you're even using more max pairs or a higher lot size, right? You're really getting aggressive then, because again, the lower time frame, the less accurate read. So inherently, it's always going to increase risk because it also does increase profit. All right. Brent, great question. He says, if the market gaps at open, does that count towards gear levels? So this is a great question, and I'm glad Brent asked this here. So the first thing you're going to notice is inside your actual GearBox, you have a setting that's called wait 2 hours after market open to start trading. Now, what you'll notice is even though this is in place, the ghost gears will begin trading even when the market opens. Just you will not enter a real trade in the market until after the market's opened. So yes, Brent, in the case of the ghost gears, you will be able to see it actually take into account that gap, even though it was waiting, because it will trade ghost gears. Even if you turn auto trading off, you'll notice that ghost gears will continue to trade, just you can't enter a trade on your account in the real market. It'll fail because you don't have auto trading on. But the ghost gears are always running, whether you have wait 2 hours after market open on or you have auto trading off. No matter what's going on, the ghost gears are always going to trade. The only reason a ghost gear would stop trading is if you pause new trends. So when you pause new trends, what this does is this means if you were to enter a trade right now, all right, and it's super cool that this actually worked and it immediately said no new trends, because previously when we had the slower version of GearBox, you'd sometimes hit this and it would not immediately say that. So super cool that the UI works as it should now. Everything's super fast. You guys are gonna love this. I can't wait to get this update in your hands later. But when you hit pause new trends, this is a great way to get out of trades. So it's not going to stop taking any new trades, but let's just say, for example, you're in USD pairs still, and you're trying to get out of USD pairs. Maybe you go to all your USD pairs and you hit pause new trends. What this is going to do is it's still going to manage all the USD pairs that are open and get you out of them. But just once you get out of them, it's not going to open a new ghost trade. It's not going to ever open a new trade on that pair. It's simply a way to help you get out of pairs sooner. And for those of you who maybe do more aggressive or moderate things, pausing and creating no new trends is also a great way to get in the market and do more aggressive things, Monday to Tuesday, and get in and out, and then maybe decrease your risk for the rest of the week, which some people are doing, right? It's a more hands-on strategy. But again, this is why we give you all these amazing customizable tools within the GearBox strategy. Mariska said, one of my customers running Sniper hasn't had a single trade in 3 weeks. Is it possible that something is wrong? Mariska, I would say that something is wrong. In that case, if they've gone 3 weeks with no trades, I've seen some people in this chat say, hey, I've gone a few weeks with no trades. Anytime you go over a week without a single trade, I would say it's very important to re-go through and look at that, or submit a support ticket. And also I myself would go in with any of my customers experiencing that, and I would say, let's re-go through the setup video. Let's make sure that every box is checked that needs to be. Let's make sure everything's perfect and figure out if there's an error going on, or go through the experts tab, look at the logs. Anytime someone's telling me there's a problem, I go to look into the experts tab and try to see, is there something really going on here wrong? Are there errors anywhere? Obviously, there's a lot of messages that pop up in the experts tab with GearBox, since it is ghost trading all these different pairs. But As I mentioned, it is important to be able to kind of just scroll through here and look for errors, because if you see errors, that typically means that maybe something isn't set up right as well. So, just some things to look at. Re-go through the entire setup if you're not getting trades, and then also look at the experts tab to see what's going on here and if you see any errors being thrown. Those are some important things to go ahead and do. Well, Brent said, trying to understand the difference between timeframes H1, H4 daily that you put GearBox on. Would I be correct to say that GearBox will only trade counter trend to the trend on the time frame that it's on? I would not specifically say that. There's many times that GearBox does also trade with the trend, but predominantly it is a counter trend product, which is where it's really looking to capitalize on reversals. That's why the ghost gears are so important. You're really looking to catch large counter trend moves against you and then get in at a perfect time to just catch that reversal, whether it's the real trades only of 30 pips, real trades double TP of 60 pips, or ghost plus real, which can vary based on which gear entry you have. Magdalena said, when we're running TP, double TP, we can see a behavior that a sequence goes into a good positive and then there's a retracement. We go into sometimes DD before it goes into profit. It can take a lot of times. You mentioned a trailing profit feature at some point. Is this coming? How will it work? Thank you. Yes, this is one of the next things on our priority list to start working on. And we believe it's going to be a separate feature we're actually going to add into the manager. We are working on many ideas for the future, but yes, I can tell you that adding in a trailing is definitely at the top priority list. As we have noticed in many accounts, we're in drawdown now on ourselves. This was a similar situation. Had we had a trailing stop loss weeks ago on some of these consolidated pairs we got stuck in, they were in floating profit, but we were running ghost plus real, which is always going for more profit, obviously. Double TP would have actually gotten us out of the trades. But because we didn't have a trailing and we were looking for a larger move, it ended up retracing and put us in drawdown and we got stuck in the move. So yes, because of that, we know that adding a trailing is going to be all the difference, and people really minimizing the potential to ever get into drawdown with GearBox. So it is on the top of our priority list to start working on adding in trailing stop losses. We just need to really figure out the best way to go ahead and do it, which way we want to do it. But I can tell you that is on the next list. Really, everything the past few months has gone into just perfecting GearBox and getting it super fast, making sure everything's perfect. And we hope with this speed update that many of you noticed that a lot of the things that might have seemed like bugs weren't actually bugs. They were just speed issues resolved. And as we have no reports of any real major bugs going forward, which we haven't really had any major bugs, just minuscule things that we had to investigate and found out they were really just caused by VPS speed and GearBox being so intensive. Now that things are really perfect, we're starting to hone in on those next things, being, the simulator, adding and trailing stop losses, looking at separate hedging engines, different things, right? We're going to continue to advance and advance, but I can tell you that the trailing stop is next on my priority list of a new feature. Nick said, Tyler, this is a great software noob question. I need to know what balance, equity, and margin means. Any help understanding would be great. Thanks for what you do. Nick, I would recommend, if you haven't gone back into your AP Academy, and there's an incredible education section that really goes into everything on the trading side and, what is a PIP, all these different parts of Forex, including balance, equity, margin. All of that stuff will be in our AP Academy. If you haven't had a chance to get in there, I would dig in. There's so much amazing education in there from our educators, and, definitely take a dig into the AP Academy. Alex, does allow modification signal settings need to be checked now? It was never required before. Actually, this should always be checked. It seems that when it isn't checked, that sometimes people are experiencing more of the problems with error modifying double TP or some of those messages. It's best to check all of these, right? If you keep all these checked, it's a good thing. Brent said, how's your experimental account doing? Brent, to be honest, it only entered one GBP trade this week. It got into GBP NZD on a level 7 trade, and it's in floating profit right now on both accounts. So wasn't too many moves on the GBP pairs this week, it seems, as I didn't get into many trading opportunities there, but I did snag a nice GBP NZD trade. Denville said, does running on 4 hour instead of daily significantly increase potential drawdown? I wouldn't say significantly, but it does increase the risk because you have to remember you're playing both sides of the market. Now, where could this go against you? If you were potentially playing both sides of the market on a lower time frame, which let me see if there's a pair that's trading both sides. Sometimes it tends to be the more volatile ones. Here you go. GBP JPY. You can see it's playing both sides of the market right now. It's in a gear zero and on both the buy and the sell. So let's say GBP JPY has a massive move against us. Okay, well that could equal a great trade opportunity, but just as much as it equals a great trade opportunity, it could retrace just as quickly, and now you're stuck both ways, right? Maybe you make some profit, but then there's some upsides and downsides to it. A lot of the times it's going to work out in your favor, but there is going to be the 5% chance where, since you are playing both sides of the market, that it could have an adverse effect if the market was to do something abnormal. But again, as we know, GearBox can really handle that kind of volatility because you are skipping levels of drawdown. No, Tim, when it comes to manually trading, you're saying if there's a pair close to TP, never manually close it out. Not the case. If there's a pair close to TP, you can manually close it out. We fixed that. That was a few weeks ago that we were talking about. If you're going to manually close it, make sure you cleared the ghost trades because sometimes they weren't clearing. That's been fixed. When I'm saying don't manually trade with GearBox, I'm specifically saying do not go and actually trade on the same account, meaning that, if I wanted to go look at GBP JPY here and go, oh, let's take a trade, right? Don't do that. Don't go trade on the same account that GearBox is trading on. If you want to manually take a trade, do it on a separate broker account than the one that you're running GearBox on, right? So in this case, I would not take a trade on the same exact account, right? Or this one, right? You would want to have separate accounts for those reasons. Magdalena said, since the manager is the master now, if I populate settings through the manager and then go to each chart settings and change something, will there be effect that'll rewrite what's coming from the manager? No. Magdalena, that you can perfectly do that. Use the manager to set up, and then you go individually customize your settings more on each chart if you'd like. The manager will simply just read whatever the settings are on each chart. Again, the settings that the manager bases its decisions on come from each GearBox chart individually. The manager is a tool to help you get each chart set up, but then when it's actually making trading decisions, it is reading whatever is input here. So if you change an input here, that is exactly what the manager is going to base its trading decisions off of, because it's reading the direct settings right from these charts individually. Brent, that's a great question. He said, what if variable in GearBox had a baby and we had a variable ghost gear settings based on ADR and ATR? Maybe that's something that we play with later. I'll tell you, there's tons of great ideas and things that we can do. I know when I first was designing GearBox that, Dasan was also playing around with the strategy and the idea because it's such a cool strategy. It really is. I actually have a buddy that had a similar cost averaging strategy and software. He manages a lot of money for a fund, and he has, a software that it immediately enters trades and, it does its thing with cost averaging. But he took his strategy and did something similar with ghost gears for one of his funds. And, it's something that I have seen done in the space with other EAs. It's just, GearBox is definitely one of the most advanced ones so far in regards to that, because we've just put all our time and energy into just creating this beautiful baby, right? Alex said, do we need to change the master setting on the GearBox manager chart or on every pair we have charted? The master setting, if you just change it on the manager and then use this strategy, it'll actually update that setting on all the charts for you. So when you first get the update, this is going to be set to false on both every GearBox chart and on the manager. But once you set it to true on the manager and then you hit use this strategy, it's going to change every single GearBox to also say has manager true. But when you first get the update, you're going to notice that it's still set to false on all of them, on your manager and on your GearBoxes. Just simply go into your manager once you get the update, set it to true, and then make the update to the strategy you want to use again, and it's going to apply to all the charts. And again, I will release a video on this later tonight in the Telegram when we push out this update. Karina said, can the USD pairs be added again? Is it better to wait? Karina, I'd still possibly wait. You know, there's even though the inauguration happened and all these things, I would still say, you know, stick away from USD pairs for now. Maybe at least till the end of January fully. Maybe in February we start back up with USD pairs, but for now, you know, I'd be avoiding them. Tim said on a 50K balance, thoughts on what the max pairs should be. Tim, I'll tell you, on a 50K balance, I can't recommend anything to you, but I'll tell you on my 50K account, I'm running 3 max pairs. You know, I believe the larger capital that I have, the more conservative I'm going to be, right? I actually will be more aggressive with a smaller balance than I would ever be with a larger balance. And why is that? Well, the more money you're playing with, the more conservative you want to be. Like, for example, 30% drawdown on a $1,000 account, not so scary. 30% drawdown on a 50K account, a little scary. So, you know, just to put it in perspective, it depends on your risk appetite and what you're willing to see. So for me, you know, the larger the capital, the more conservative I always would recommend to be, just because it makes sense, right? You want to see less risk. And, you know, sometimes people have a higher risk appetite. But for me, like I said, I'm more comfortable with bigger drawdown on a smaller account than I'm ever going to be on a larger account. Maglana, you got it. So if somebody has set in their gearboxes that they have a master and they close the manager, it will not be running anymore. Yes, you have a bunch of slave charts open with no master to control them. So yes, it's very important that with this update, people keep the manager open if they use the performance feature. The reason that we didn't make the performance feature automatically select to yes is we wanted to make sure that people knew what was going on. Because if we made this auto select to yes, and then people closed the manager, and then a whole week went by and they didn't get any trades, next week people would be super mad. So for the people that aren't in the loop, their gearbox will continue running as normal, the old school way. For the people who are in the loop, you're going to get the perks of the performance update, and then hopefully over the next few weeks, everyone will become aware of the performance update and use it and speed themselves up. But that is why we released it this way, to where there is the manual function that you need to toggle it, because we knew that if we auto toggled it for people that, you know, it could have an adverse effect. So we wanted people to be able to understand it, toggle it for themselves. So Matt Jazz, yeah, GBP CAD, I believe we answered that one already. Andy, a lot of people keep asking about the hour one. We've covered this a few times. Christopher Castillo said, will there be a hedging option, or can we lower the time frame to allow GB to hedge that way? The best way to get Gearbox to really hedge currently is, yes, it's going to be to lower the time frame so it starts playing both sides in the market and some of these more volatile pairs. But in the future, we are looking at adding a separate hedging engine into the Gearbox manager or into Gearbox itself. We really are just kind of figuring out the math variables, going through some historical testing. There's a lot that goes into deciding how to add in a separate hedging engine. But we are working on it. We are coming up with ideas for the best way to do it. Matt just said, is there any problem if we see that some trade open with Gearbox is near TP, but there's a big resistance? In that case, we can manually just close the trade. Yep, Matt Jazz, if you ever see something near TP, you know, just go ahead and close it if you want. You know, there's no reason to always hold towards TP. Oftentimes I close trades if I see they're near TP. Let me plug in my laptop. I see we are near the spot of death. So give me a second here. But yeah, anytime I see a trade, even like 10 pips near TP, even sometimes 15, you know, I oftentimes just close it. It makes a lot of sense to do that. Give me a second here, just plugging in the laptop. Okay. Can you guide me through what Gearbox does, like an entry point, and how you got that entry point, or any information you can give? Cody, sounds like you're a little bit new to the Gearbox strategy, so awesome. If you haven't checked out any of the videos inside the AP Academy on Gearbox, we do a lot of the explaining behind it, but just to do a brief, quick share, let me just pull up this real quick. You know, this will help give some insight. I'm just going to find this picture real quick. Entry. Downloads. I'm trying to just find a picture I took a long time ago to actually show you guys and have this make sense, because this will give you guys a big visual so you can understand. Here we go. All right, let me share my screen again. Awesome. So to explain a little bit about how GearBox is looking for its entries, based on the default settings that are pre-programmed into GearBox if you do not change them. All right, what's going to happen is you're looking, depending on, let's also pull up that other chart while we're here. We're going to look at these together because this will make a lot of sense for all of you. Okay, so depending on which pair you're trading, what's going on, you're going to see that you're looking for different things. So, you know, in this case, if we go to Euro USD, you're going to be entering earliest on swing settings on a gear 3, on sniper on a gear 4. So what does that mean? We're looking for over 87 pips to go by in an opposite direction from where the software would have entered in what's known as the base ghost gear strategy. So it's basically trading behind the scenes. So what's going to happen is the software is already going to look and it's going to go, okay, the counter trend looks like a buy. Let's go into level 0. Okay, 21 pips goes by. We get into level 1. Another 28 pips goes by, 49 total pips. We're in level 2. 3, we're already at 87. That'd be your earliest entry. If you're running sniper, you're waiting for 138 pips to go by against Euro USD, you know, in the counter trend before it actually takes a trade. And then it's looking to catch that reversal. Whether you're using real trades only and you're only looking for 30 pips, whether you're using double TP looking for 60 or ghost plus real, in this case, that might be looking to, you know, catch like 70 or something. Depending on where your entry is, depends, you know, really how many pips you're looking to catch on ghost plus real. And again, with real trades only or double TP, you're always looking for 30 or 60. So, you know, if you're using double TP, and let's look at a pair like NZD JPY, all right, you're now waiting all the way on sniper to a gear 5. Okay, we're waiting 207 pips before we even take, you know, our entry in that case. Or you look at something like GBP NZD, where we're waiting all the way to, you know, gear 7 on sniper. You're talking about waiting 426 pips before you even take an entry. And maybe at that point, if you're using real trades only or real trades double TP, you know, you might be experiencing many different things in that regards. So, you know, just a few different things to note there. But let me go back into the Q&A here and see what else is going on. Wow, this is incredible. Alex Fontaine said that he's been using Hour One with 4 of his accounts as well. His clients have all been using Hour One. His accounts of 1 to 2K have all done between 50 and 100% since December with a max 25% drawdown. Alex, those are incredible results. Hayden said, my software seems to be accepting trades on new pairs without me needing to accept them in notifications. Hayden, so we've been getting some reports of this, and what it is actually a lot of times there are trades that you could have pre-approved in the past. When I say pre-approved in the past, I mean you might have approved a trade sequence, because how the MAV version of GearBox works, and I'll just go into this real quick. The MAV version of GearBox, so this is going to be different based on MAV or international. So there's a queue. On international, let's say you have max pair set as 3, all right, but you know, you might be stuck in GBP CAD, USD Swiss franc here, and USD JPY. And let's say GBP AUD, Euro AUD, and Euro JPY all have trade opportunities. They met their gears above level. All right, they're going to go into a queue, meaning that when one of these 3 closes out, it's going to then go open whichever pair has the highest ghost gear open. Okay, that's how international is going to work. It's going to look at which one has the highest ghost gear open. Now, for the US MAV version, it's going to be based on the approval queue. So let's say you were in these 3, you're still going to get trade alerts, even more than the 3 that you have open. So maybe you have these 3 that are already open, your max pairs is deployed, but there's trade opportunities on this pair, this pair, this pair. You're still going to get those approvals, and you're going to approve them, and they're going to go into a queue, meaning that when one of these closes, If that trade is still valid, it's going to go look at the queue next. Once one of these pairs closes and your max pairs is not fully breached, it's going to then go and look at, okay, what's next in the queue? That was the next approved trade. And is that trade still valid? And if that trade is still valid, it's going to go ahead and enter it. And what can happen is some of these trade approvals could have been trade approvals from a week, 2 weeks ago that you approved, but because the trade is still valid and still near or farther than where you would have entered anyways, it's still going to take the trade because it's still in the trade in the Ghost server and it sees it as a valid trade. So that's oftentimes what we've been seeing is happening with MAV. We haven't found any examples that wasn't the case so far. If you see any, we'd love to look into them. I see everyone was telling me to charge my computer. I'm glad I noticed. Not sure if you answered, but not sure if you've answered this, but when accepting trades that then can be open, once the pending trade's open, they open true trades at the same time. Okay, so great question, Rob. So this is another MAV thing, and this has to do with the same thing. Let's say your trades are in a queue, or even maybe your max pairs wasn't breached, but let's say an hour even goes by before you approve the trade. Because remember, MAV trade alerts, you have a 6-hour window to approve any trade we send, or it'll expire and resend you a new one. But let's say in that 2 hours, let's say you approve the trade 2 hours after we send it, the market could have moved. And if another entry would have been open in the actual Ghost server, that would have been a real trade entry. So let's say you had your approval set for level 3. I'll just give a visual real quick. Let's say your approval was set for level 3 here. Okay. And let's just say that by the time you go to approve the trade, level 4 hit already. What it's going to do is it's actually just going to put level 3 and level 4 in the market at the same time. So even though sometimes it can look like, oh, my software entered 2 trades at the same time, really this trade would have already been open prior at a worse entry, and it just put them both in the market. So oftentimes this is actually playing out in many of your favor because you're capitalizing on getting that entry at a better price point and doubling down. So some users are seeing a lot of profit from this. It's not dangerous because, again, it's a trade you would have already been in that you had already authorized at a higher price level, and it's simply just getting a better entry and deploying with the next level at the same time. So that's what's happening on MAV in that case. Rick, you are not able to view the queued trades that you have. Unfortunately, that's all in the back end. I mean, you could find it maybe in your experts log. Jake said XAU USD is super volatile. What's your thoughts on adding that pair to the list? And have you tested it? Jake, I'm going to tell you that I will begin testing it soon. I've just been so focused on perfecting what we already have that I have not began playing with indices or gold. But I will tell you, it is on my list to find settings that will work on indices, that'll work on gold and things along those lines. For now, please don't play with it unless you're doing it on demo. Do not use any live money on any pairs that we do not have data on. It is not ideal. Please let me be the guinea pig first before any of you ever go out there and try to use live money on anything we do not have data or testing on. I have to emphasize that. Ronald, there will be a reboot needed, and then what I explained earlier. But again, the computer will also auto reboot within 6 hours of us pushing the update out later tonight. So no worries there as well. All right, let me get back into Q&A. I don't know where my Q&A went on us. Q&A window always likes to hide. Give me a second. So I can make it come back from wherever it went hiding on me. Nope, it does not want to come back for me. I hate when it does that. Q&A window, where did you go? I think I know where it went. There it is. Cool. Okay, go back to sharing my screen. Mariska asked, have all the setup videos been adjusted to this new version as well, Mariska? That is actually going to be recorded after this call. All the things I'm doing today are in regards to the speed performance update, redoing the setup videos, making an update video as well for the Telegram, as well as pushing a ton of these new things out. So yes, that is on my agenda for the day, is a brand new setup video in regards to this performance update for the EA and AP Academy as well. Matt Jazz, that's a more specific question. I can't really give you a specific answer on. He said for 100K account, what would be ideal lot size and position size if I do not want to see a bigger drawdown than 3%? Is it okay 6 open, sniper, ghost plus real, 0.1 start lot and position multiplier? With a starting lot of just 0.1, you know, that sounds great actually. And position size multiplier just a little bigger. I mean, honestly, those settings don't sound bad to me. I think that those would work very well. I can't guarantee what your max drawdown would be, but I would tell you that those are very conservative settings. And due to the lot size, you know, obviously you're running 6 max pairs, but your lot size is, you know, about 1/10 of ideal, and you are just increasing the position size multiplier a little. So not bad. I don't think that you'll have a problem with that. Yes, Philip, will the new version easily take over open positions currently being ran by the old version? Absolutely. We will never release an update where it does not manage your old trades. That would be very negligent and terrible, to say the least. So you'll never see that on the GearBox side here. Where can I take a look at explanation videos? Cody, awesome. Go into your Auvoria Prime back office, and then you'll see right inside there, there's a button, should be in plain view. It says AP Academy. Go ahead and click that and get in there. There's so much value in the AP Academy. If you have not already gone through our AP Academy, you need to get involved and get into the AP Academy. Brent, would there be a way to have GearBox increment by 0.01 instead of multiply? Maybe if you set the multiplier to 1.00001, it would do that because it rounds up. Brent, we are working on some ideas with the multipliers here soon. But I'd love to get with you and talk a little bit about that too. You know, we are working on some multiplier ideas and different things for people that either don't want to multiply, just want to leave it the same, or, you know, people that maybe want a different kind of multiplier, right? For large accounts, we're working on a different formal multiplier because large accounts are inherently different than small accounts when it comes to the lot size multiplier. So we are working on some different ideas like that. Duod said, did you manage to view my NZD trade, which opened 2 times trade sequence, both different TPs? So yeah, we are looking into the different TP thing. What we've actually noticed is that somehow on some of these TP issues that the ghost trades managed to get deleted while there were real trades open. We're not really sure how it happened, but that was the case for the few examples we saw still getting different take profits. So we are still investigating that, but you know, for most people, and we looked through dozens and dozens of accounts last week, and it really was such a minimal number that was reported to us. And in every case, that was what we saw. So we are trying to figure out that and looking deeper into logs. I can tell you that my programmer, while I'm on this call, he's behind the scenes debugging and looking at tons of different VPSs and trying to figure out what exactly that is and how to, you know, make sure it doesn't ever happen. Let's see what's going on. When you are talking small and large accounts, how do you define small and large? Great question, Andy. When I say small and large, I mean like under, you know, 5,000 or above 5,000. The difference, and especially as you get into larger balances, the difference is inherently different. And the reason I say this is this is a great example. And I actually, give me a second, and I'm actually going to pull up so I can give you guys a full real visual example, right? I'm big on education. So I want to actually give you guys this full visual real quick. And this is going to be a risk calculator. And I'm just going to pull it up real quick and compare it to what we were just talking about here. All right, risk calculator, perfect. Open. Cool, let's share my screen. So I want to show you guys, let's talk a $10,000 balance. And let's say 3 currency pairs trading. Let's say a starting lot here, 0.1. Okay, now, if you were to actually enter every trade where they began, this would obviously be the result. Now we're skipping those levels of drawdown because, you know, you're skipping 0 and 1, sometimes 2 and 3, and getting in later into the trend. So you're skipping a lot of this stuff. But inherently, I wanted to show you the difference in the lot size. So you see on a larger account, we go with this range multiplier and position size, so we go 0.1, 0.12, 0.14, 0.16, 0.18, 0.21, 0.24. Now let's compare it to, say, a smaller account, right? Right here. Now on that smaller account, you'll see that the lot size goes 0.01, 0.02, 0.03, 0.04, 0.04. Inherently, the step up here, all right, on a smaller account, doing it like this is actually going to get people out of drawdown quicker because it needs less of a retracement to actually get you out of drawdown. Whereas with a larger account, because the lot size multiplier is actually so conservative, you end up needing a much larger retracement. So we're playing with ways to make it to where after a certain period, maybe the multiplier advances or gets a little more aggressive when it gets to later levels so that it can get a retracement and get out sooner. You know, cases like myself stuck in NZD JPY had maybe after the fourth or fifth cost average, it had a different multiplier where it increased a bit more. It could have cleared all those trades, you know, quickly. So we're playing with some different ideas and things like that for a second multiplier of some sort. So we are playing around with that, if that answers those questions. Yeah, I'm glad you guys think that's a great idea. We are, you know, we're really, like I said, we're constantly advancing. We're looking at data. We're looking at what's going on. We know we have customers with large accounts using GearBox, and I'm using large accounts with GearBox myself. So, you know, our goal is to continue to just make things as smooth as possible for people so that they can see the most consistent trading experience with the least risk and the least drawdown periods. Yep, Philip said, I saw Euro pairs close out quicker on a small account, and that's why it needs less of a retracement. So we are playing with those different multipliers and different ideas that we have to, you know, add in another multiplier that could be used on large accounts as well. But with that being said, I don't see many more questions here. So I'm actually going to go ahead. We've been on here for a long time doing a lot of exciting talking. I'm going to get into the outlook for the week, what we have going on here. And then I'm going to get to work on finalizing all my final testing to get this update out to you guys tonight. So that I can also get all the new videos for setup as well as the update video in the Telegram. Lots of good stuff coming. I'm super excited to get this update out to you guys tonight, but let's just get into the forecast for the week, see what's going on and what's on our radar. We will just go ahead and click here. So it looks like this week we have FOMC. That's always a bigger one. We can see Monday and Tuesday are pretty dry up until Tuesday night. We get into some AUD stuff. I know some of us have been in AUD JPY and AUD USD trades. So hopefully this is one of those red folder news events that plays in our favor and gets us where we need to go. USD pairs, same thing. I know some people are still in USD pairs and have been trying to get out, myself included on some accounts. I'm hoping FOMC plays in our favor as well as our advance. We have a GDP meeting here. But other than that, you can see the red folder news is pretty minimal for the week. Just really FOMC and some AUD stuff. Other than that, it's a pretty clear week, you know, few orange folders and yellow folders, but really red folder news is what we pay attention to always, because red folder news is always going to be what can cause the market to actually have an adverse effect typically, right? A lot of yellow and orange folder news is not typically as volatile to market movements or news that causes major market movements. But red folder news is always that news that can have adverse effects or send the market, you know, a few hundred pips in one direction, right? So it's always important to pay attention to the red folder news for the week. But with that being said, list of currency pairs managed for each currency. Here it is. Matt Chaz said it would be great if you add to Gear Manager a list of currency pairs that it manages and for each currency statistic data in which gear it is. I'm not sure I'm understanding, but I think you're just saying you'd like the charts. Oops, right, it's not the right page to show you guys there. I believe you guys are saying that you are wanting this chart pretty much, and we are going to continue to update this chart. As you guys can see, this is the earliest entry possible if you were to use swing settings for each of these currency pairs, and then obviously sniper and super sniper are +1 or +2 of that. But yes, there's no way for us to build this picture into the manager, I don't believe, but I will play with that idea. If there's a way to put this in the manager, we will. Awesome. Well, with that being said, thank you guys all for hopping on this call. You know, we've been here a little longer than usual, but about an hour. And the value that we continue to always bring is going to always be there every single week. And the goal is to continue to advance and get this product to a level where really I think anyone can use it, right? GearBox is one of those more customizable and complex seeming products. And my goal every single week is, I think, how can I simplify this and make it easier for somebody with no trading experience to get in and start to see success with it. And the best part is somebody with no trading experience to be able to come in and actually start to learn and understand trading. Because I feel like once you start to use GearBox, it's easy to start to actually understand the markets, especially if you tune into these weekly calls and we go over the strategy more, the settings more, answer a lot of Q&A. If those of you who tune in this every week, your results are off the charts. And I'm seeing it firsthand, right? The people who are plugging in are getting incredible results with this product. And if you're one of those people who have been sharing incredible results with this product, please connect to MyFX book and go ahead and send it to me. I don't care. Send it to support. Send it to someone, right? Get some MyFX books attached to your accounts because you guys are seeing incredible results. And I can't wait for you to be able to share your link and share your results so that people can see they're verifiable and that they are real. So absolutely, if you're hitting it out of the park with GearBox, get your MyFX book attached. And with that being said, thank you again all for tuning into this wonderful call, and hope you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and look forward to giving you this update later this afternoon.